At this time, I'd like to call to order the Planning and Zoning meeting scheduled for September 18, 2014 for the town of Florence. This meeting is now called to order. Mr. O'Gean, can you take roll, please?
Yes, sir. Chairman Woolley,
Present.
Vice Chair Patrick,
Present.
Commissioner Petty, Commissioner Pranzo,
Present.
Commissioner Garcia.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would you all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next agenda item for this evening is going to be agenda item number 4. This is going to be the discussion, approval, or disapproval of the minutes for the regular meeting conducted on June 19th, June 19th, July 10th, and September 4th. Has everybody had a chance to look at these minutes? Is there any discussion or correction on these minutes?
Discussion.
Okay.
I want to note that I was not able to read all of these since we got 3 of them at a time. So I wasn't able to catch everything that may have possibly been in here. But however, on September 4, page 8, just a point of clarification. Third paragraph down, it was actually Commissioner Pranzo who noted the United Pacific Railroad was very close to the subdivision. He was locked out. He watched a 100 train car go by recently. Is that correct, Commissioner Pranzo?
Yeah, that's correct.
I didn't remember saying it myself. It's minor, but thank you.
Any other discussions? On July 10th, the minutes looked really well, except for the very last sentence. In the minutes, I was listed as absent, which I was, but yet I adjourned the meeting at 7:02. So if we could get that corrected.
And staff apologizes.
Is there any other discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll take a motion on the minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the June 19th meeting, the special meeting of July 10th, and the regular meeting of September 4th with the noted corrections.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor to approve the 3 set of minutes that were presented tonight. The motion was made by Commissioner Petty, seconded by Commissioner Garcia. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those minutes have all been approved with the appointed corrections.
Thank you.
Next agenda item for this evening will be number 5A. This is case number PZC 28-14- conditional use permit on the Mosaic Church. This is a presentation approval or disapproval, a design review application for the Mosaic Church submitted by Steve Branduson of Branduson Architects. The subject site is approximately 2.6 acres of a 10-acre property located within the Anthem at Merrill Ranch community. The proposed church facility will be located in the Parkside portion located west of intersection of Merrill Ranch Parkway and Felix Road, Florence, Arizona, aka portion of APN 211-01-005D.
Chair, Vice Chair, Commission, good evening. My name is Gilbert O'Gean, and before we start the presentation, Heath Reed is going to do the presentation. Wanted to have you focus on the image in front of you. This is a structure. The crossfire was not included in the report, but we would like tonight, if with your permission, to add it as part of the review tonight. It's not anything to it. Really, it's very simple, very basic, and there's some additional requirements in addition to having it approved through P&Z. But if Commission wishes to accept that and have it with this design review tonight, that'd be great. If you would like to have it tabled to another meeting, that's up to you. But to keep in mind, it doesn't really talk about, there's no issue with any vehicular traffic issues, nothing like that. It's just a structure with the cross, as you can see. So I'm asking Commission if we could add this to the
So would we add that as a stipulation in the...
we have drafted up, if the Commission wishes to approve it, this will have to be approved by council, but we actually wrote up some language for you if you wish to add that condition.
Okay.
That would address those issues.
The other question I have real quick, is that considered signage or is it just considered structure?
Staff is is calling it a structure.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So, Commission approves, or is okay with us having it?
We need to vote or just tell you that what we want to do?
Chair just needs to say it's fine. You don't need to vote on that because it's just,
Yeah, if you want to come up with the verbiage,
yeah, so you're okay with us to bring that tonight?
I'm okay. You guys okay?
Yeah, as long as it's a structure.
Okay. Yeah, just come up with the verbiage while he's doing the presentation. Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question. I'm assuming that since you're comfortable, do I need to say who I am?
Please, I
And
was
it's
going to
Billy-
ask if I'll...
Commissioner Garcia. My question is for staff. If they're adding this at the last minute, I'm assuming that you're also adding some point of clarification regarding acceptable height restrictions on structures and
we will get-
and back from the road and that kind of thing? And you
Chair-
will make a recommendation, I'm assuming?
Chair, Commission, yes, we've, it wasn't last minute. As you see the image in front of you, this is our master. But they have decided to move forward with this piece only because it represents the whole corner as a religious site. Once again, minimal issues, if any, and there is verbiage we will clarify and talk about if you're inclined to approve the entire package. So yes.
Thank you. Okay, so now we get a presentation?
Yes, sir.
Apologize for that. Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, it's a pleasure to be with you tonight. This is a project that staff has been working with the church and the applicant, Steve Bardusin, of Bardusin Architects for a while, and we're excited that it's finally here to see that the plan has come forward. So what you have here is the overall master plan, and what the church and the architect is proposing is the first phase. So they're looking at phasing out the site into, I believe it's 5 phases. So right here you can see the first phase of the building. Later on, as they get into, so it would be phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4, you get, that's when phase 1, the old building, will be removed, but that's at a later date at this time. So let's zoom in a little bit and show you the actual site. So the church is actually 3,997 square feet. The property is 10 acres, and the first phase is going to be approximately 2.6 acres. A little bit of background, too, about the church. It was founded in 2007 and was originally located within the town core. Lately, they've been having services out in Anthem community at the American Leadership Academy, and look forward to having their own space here soon. Let's get to the elevations. I'll show you a little bit of the elevations here. So they followed the design palette for the Anthem community using more of a traditional design, prairie-style architecture. This building is a former Pulte model home modular, but they're going to be updating the exterior and the interior to fit within the community. This has been approved by the Pulte HOA, the Anthem HOA and Pulte group, so let you know that. So in the front, they're going to have this nice little shade canopy where they're going to have interactions at the front of the door where they can have a little outdoor space and stuff. It's one of the nice things about this and what the architect has designed. This is the color board. They did bring one in. Show showing the cloth, the material, and the colors that are going to be on the building, and showing the locations. You have this in your packet. I hope you've been able to look at that. So that's the elevations. There's going to be brick columns, similar brick faces that's within the community. So it's really going to tie into what is in the Anthem community. And let's go back here. So right now what they're proposing is 34 parking spaces. This exceeds the parking requirements of, I think it was 28 spaces. And the overall plan, you look out here, we've actually been working with the engineer and the architect on some of the access points. So right here is their first access point, which is going to be off of Merrill Ranch Parkway. There has to be, under the engineering code, there has to be certain decel and accelerator lanes and turning lanes, radiuses, and setbacks from corners. So they have to be 660, I think it's 660 feet back from a corner. So these are the two entrances for the actual master plan. You see where the mouse is. The first one's going to be right in here. And so this is where the people are going to be able to access phase 1. This is the building layout, just showing a little bit. We're not voting on that, but just showing what it looks like. This is overall landscape plan. Let's go back here to the access points. Circulation. So we started looking at, for fire, we had the fire department along with Public Works, the engineering department, to look at this, and for safety reasons and access for emergency vehicles, we came up with 4 options within the site. And as we went through them, realized that their option 4 was the second drive, but because of the engineering standards, this would not be allowed to code. So we started looking at other options and bringing it further down and around to Felix, and where we were looking at still didn't meet requirements. We'd have to go all the way to the other areas. So working with fire department, we started looking at these 4 cul-de-sacs where the fire department can access the building in a safe distance. And after speaking to them and the architect, right here, you see at the very bottom, where this kind of a red hatch, is where they would like the access points. So now we're going to be losing probably about 2 to 3 parking spaces. They're still above what they're required. But these access points, talking to the battalion chief, John Kemp, said this would be the best access point because they can actually access in the front or into the side and be able to safely enter and exit the space, all emergency vehicles, from their evaluation. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the signage. So they are going to have, besides the cross spire that you did see, they are going to have a monument sign on both street frontages on Merrill Ranch Parkway and Felix. So this sign meets code. It's underneath the 8 feet in the total square foot area. It's actually a unique design. Staff's found that it's got tiered levels of landscape and different materials that actually break up and makes it a very nice and pleasant design for the sign. All right, run back one more time. So landscaping, they're going to continue the what Anthem community, what the design palette is for the Anthem community. So the same type of trees and vegetation along the street frontage and within phase 1. They're going to. There's going to be a minor within your the staff report. You do see that there are things that we've put in for the applicant. There are things that that staff has asked for additional changes that they are going to address to make sure that this design approval is met. These are very tiny little things that are not detrimental to the design review that's in front of you. But there is going to be tiny changes to landscaping and making sure that they meet engineering standards. Nothing's going to change on this site plan except for the fire access. that you've seen before you. Landscaping-wise, also they're going to have this little grass area. We're going to have some outdoor activities and enjoy when it's starting to be that time of the year where it's a little more enjoyable to enjoy the outdoors. So that is the presentation. Staff finds that the request is in compliance with the anthem at Merrill Ranch PUD and with town codes. Basically, oh yes, excuse me, I apologize. The last thing I did want to talk about is going off of what Gilbert was stating. So the spire, it wasn't a delay. One of the things that staff is looking at is the proposal. So within the PUD, it states the maximum height for this area is 30 feet. The cross spires as a structure exceeds that by 10 feet. We worked with the applicant and basically give them options. Within the code, there's only specific uses, that is government, schools, and churches, sanctuaries, that can exceed the allowable height limits within each zone. But that has to be approved and waived by the town council. Just to give you that heads up. So that's something that staff has been working on. We apologize that this was not in your packet.
Chair, Vice Chair, if I may. So tonight, if the commission wishes to approve this case, the highest they can go is 30 feet with the cross spire. If they wish to go the additional 10, it will go
For the variation through town council.
It's not a variance, but it will be presented to town council, and they'll have to approve the additional 10 feet.
It's called a basically exception or a waiver of height within the town code.
It also requires them to, it won't be able to be located exactly where you see on the map. It'll be pushed back a little bit, but not much.
One of the other elements is right here. You see this dotted line? This is going to be actually Anthem or Pulte's piece where they're going to be putting signage for the Anthem community. So similar to what you see, the big entrances when you come up off of Hunt Highway at Merrill Ranch Parkway. So that's you're going to see a grade change, most likely at that corner. Don't have designs for that, but that's fairly typical of an Anthem and Pulte community. So there's going to be some grade changes and differences right in front of it that actually might minimize the size of this tower from the street. If there's any other, if you have any questions for staff, the applicant, the architect, Steve Bardusin, is here. I'd like to address those.
Mr. Pranzo, any questions?
Yeah. Who am I addressing the question to?
I don't know.
Do you have any
Well,
questions?
I'll throw it out there and see who comes up.
State your name for the record.
I can introduce myself, and then we'll see who should answer it. I'm Steve Bardusin from Bardusin Architects, and I am...
I didn't hear you?
Steve Bardusin from
The architect?
Bardusin Architects. So I'm the architect.
I just have a couple of questions. One of them you probably can answer. Concerning the structure, looking at 40 feet against the 8x10 color glossy I've got here, it appears that this structure will really overwhelm the church building itself. I'd like to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, the relationship between this Phase 1 building and the rest of the site is definitely a little bit of an odd bird because of the fact that we have existing modular buildings. But they are separated by a pretty large distance, and the modular building is only temporary. And so the cross spire, the intent of that was to be like a bell tower or a clock tower element, like a vertical element. And it was derived, I didn't say stolen. It was derived from a similar structure that is in Point Loma, on the campus of Point Loma Point Loma Nazarene University. And so it's more of like a bell tower element, and then it'll be integrated into all the rest of the structures because they'll, of course, be the 30 feet of height as they are developed.
Okay, so you're comfortable
Yeah,
with that structure against the Phase 1 building?
Yeah, I personally am. It's more of a sculpture element, and I think it's going to tie in, especially as the site develops. But right now, it's kind of on its own until the rest of the site gets developed. And the next phase of development, the church's desire is to do the spire and some of the surrounding structures, including that Phase 2 building, which is only about, I think, 12 or 13,000 square feet. But getting the church on site will allow them to be able to grow, to be able to get that first or that next building in. And then it'll see how it ties in better.
Okay, my next question might be a little bit on the nitpicky side,
That's okay.
and I don't know if you can answer it or not. I'm assuming that the entity's legal name is the Florence Mosaic Church of the Nazarene. Would that be correct?
I put the actual name on the application. Florence was the first.
It is written that way as the property
Yeah.
owner?
Okay.
It's on, that's a project
So
name.
the CEO,
Yes.
the owner, doesn't call it that. He called it the Mosaic Church of the Nazarene.
Right.
And I guess my question is, the county does not record this ownership yet. Is this in escrow or has it closed?
It has closed, and I think about a year ago. So I'm not sure exactly of the name that was used. What I put down was the name of the church's corporation, 501c3, and the ownership of the dirt may be in a slightly different name. I don't have that information.
Well, actually, as of today, it's still under Pulte Home Corporation.
Okay. Yeah, it closed.
That's what begs
Help me
the
out,
question,
Sue.
is it in escrow?
It closed.
Yeah.
About a year ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chair, Vice Chair, we were told by Pulte that it did close.
You were told.
Yes.
Okay, so Pulte has no claims to this property, and you've seen evidence to that effect.
Right. I have not seen. I've only been told by both entities that it did close, and I believe it was
It's a little
about
odd
a year
if
ago.
it's closed a year ago and the county hasn't caught up with it
Yeah,
yet.
that's the first time I've heard that. But yeah, it's been, I'm going to say, almost a year.
Well, I just don't want us to plant property that doesn't belong
Yep.
to.
Chair, Vice Chair, Commission, we have a letter from, I should say an email from Dan Bono, who's the Director of Entitlements, approving this design.
Okay,
So we'd be happy to show that to you if you'd like to see it.
all right. So that's, as long as we keep calling it the Florence Mosaic Church of the Nazarene, because there's 3 more.
Yeah, I've seen Mosaic Church, I've seen Mosaic Nazarene Church, I've seen Mosaic Church of the Nazarene. It's kind of a fluid name that I'm sure when they get on site, they're going to put it on the sign, and that's what they're going to be known as. But the corporate name is Florence Mosaic Church of the Nazarene.
Right.
Great.
Okay, thank you. That answers
Sure.
my questions.
You bet.
Commissioner Patrick?
I just wanted to confirm this first phase building is one of the modular buildings that Pulte used to use for sales office?
Yes, it's 4 modular buildings that were actually brought down from Las Vegas, and that was how the church was able to acquire it. I wish it would have been the ones in Anthem. Would have been less of a haul, but no, it was a beautiful facility, but it was kind of a old world Spanish kind of. It didn't tie into Anthem, especially to the community buildings. Yeah.
Okay, that was all I had.
I've just got one, it's mostly curiosity. I was wondering when the second access point off of Felix Road, like, would that be built or put in when Phase 2 was? I'm just curious.
Yeah, the answer would be most likely Phase 3, but because that's when we start to get onto that side of the campus. But that's just my conjecture at this point. I'm guessing, or well, from what I've heard from them, they really desire to get that Phase 2 as quickly as possible to get back to you guys within a year or two to be able to have the funds to build that, and that's really their desire. The Phase 3 is strictly, you know, a factor of growth.
Commissioner Garcia?
Just a question. The sign that we're given a sample of in the presentation, where is that sign going to be located? Since you're thinking about the crossbar there in the front of the property.
Yes. I believe if you see,
Another one?
not that one.
It's just south of the driveway off, I'm sorry, west of the driveway off
East.
Barrel Ranch.
It's east of our driveway. It's basically about halfway in between that driveway and the sidewalk that you see. If you go back to maybe the one that, there you go. Either of those, any of those will show it. There you go. Can we blow it up or no?
Yeah, they pointed it out to me.
Okay.
It's just right north of it.
Here we go. Look at this. It is right, I believe, there. Oh, you got it.
Well, he's going to be an expert presenter now.
No, Heath has got the.
It's right in that area.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just sort of talking about this crossfire, because I'm not surprised that it's over the height restrictions. I guess what you're thinking is, and my expectation would be, if I was building a church, I would want to throw that spire up pretty quickly, because what you're talking about is a landmark. You're talking about a visual statement that you assume will be seen from two major, you know, the roads that go by there, so that people know what you're doing.
Right.
And I guess the piece for me, that if I was doing this and trying to set it in a way that's going to catch people's eye, is you don't have any idea what Pulte's going to do on this corner, because if they build something similar to what they did at the entrance, it's going to be enormous.
Chair, Vice Chair, Commission, actually, you are correct. Staff is on it. We've been told that the monument signage that you see as you enter Pulte is what will probably end up here. And that tower is about 15 to 20 feet. It's got the waterfall that cascades. It's got the large, you know, grass area. But this spire would be in competition with that if it didn't exceed 25 feet or more. I'm not sure on the dimensions on the monument signage, but that's one of Pulte's trademarks, is to own those corners. And as you can see, this piece in front of you is huge. So that was also the reasoning behind the 40-foot structure.
So, and then it just says on page 3, future monument signage is planned near Felix Road. Alignment, all signage will be in conformance with town codes. And you said that the spire is not considered signage, it's considered a structure. So the fact that it's not within the town codes in terms of height restrictions, you're prepared?
It is within the town code. The actual code restricts it to 30 feet. Anything above that would have to have town council approval.
Just for clarification, what we approved today is approving it at 30 feet.
Yes, ma'am. And we will provide a condition that would address the additional 10 feet if you choose to approve tonight.
Okay. And then just also, just a point of curiosity, I'm really curious about the prayer chapel phase 2. I don't know how you can contain your excitement. You must have a plan for that.
Oh,
right?
man. See, now you read my, yeah, that's when I talked about the other buildings that they can't wait to get up. The money, there isn't any funding to be able to pay for the church spire yet, but their hope is that being able to see it and the design for it, that there's a lot of people that have a lot of excitement, that there might be some donors that would say, I'd love to be able to put, you know, as a memorial or for whatever purpose, to be able to give the money for the cross spire. The wedding chapel, man, we're having a hard time not getting really excited about that, because we see that as being this really neat little structure for people of all faiths to be able to come and have a funeral chapel, a prayer chapel, a wedding chapel, and have it be something where people say, that's a place I want to get married in. And I've had the opportunity to work on about 80 churches across the valley and across the country, and to be able to have that that space for people and have it be something that's appealing is just something that the church is really excited about. And being able to just open it up, because they're such a community, church, they really are. They're so invested in Florence that they're just really excited about the potential of that.
So this chapel is not intended to be the primary sanctuary
No.
for this church, even at full development?
At full development, no.
So it's more of a place for private, almost private use, it sounds
Yes.
like?
Yeah, Wayfarer, wedding chapel, prayer chapel. The phase 2 that you see, that's that corner, the building opposite the corner, that will be a worship center. So the first phase that we're putting in has about 100 seats. And like I said, the church is relatively small. They'll have about 100 seats. And then when that phase 2 building is put in, it would probably be more like 400 seats. And I can't remember my narrative exactly, but that is an expandable structure, meaning the back walls will not be structural, and they will be able to continue to push out to be able to reach the capacity of, did I say 600, 800, whatever, I can't remember what I put into the narrative, but it's expandable so that that's the building that'll be the worship center, auditorium, sanctuary, whatever terms you want to use. The chapel is just literally a wedding
Like
chapel.
it would be an interesting approval process.
Yeah.
Any further questions?
Should I answer the question about the height? We're going to be working with Pulte on what the grades should be, because they have to grade right now where the church spire is located is actually a retention basin temporary that they put in. So that whole site is going to have to be graded by Pulte, and we are going to be working with them to try to figure out what the base height should be. Does the whole, because of their structures being raised on the middle of the corner, does that mean that our site will have to probably be raised too? Otherwise, they'll have this huge retaining wall. So we'll work it out with them. We're used to doing that kind of thing and have a good relationship with them.
It's good that you have a partnership with them, because that could mess up your plans, for sure.
Yeah.
I just have a couple of questions. One of them for staff and then the rest for the applicant. I'll go ahead and ask the applicant first. I want to clarify that the only building that's going to be modular is going to be phase 1. After that, everything's going to be brick or stick built, correct?
That's correct.
Permanent structures, that type of thing? Okay.
Yes.
Another question for the applicant. Have you seen the staff recommendations? All 11 of them?
Yes.
And do you concur with those
Yeah, we
staff
concur with
recommendations?
those 11 stipulations, or however many there were.
Okay, thank you very much. And then the last one, I want to talk about the fire lane. It's just more curiosity than anything. That's not going to be actual parking lot
No.
at that time. It's going to be just dirt lot.
It's going to be all weather, ABC.
Chair, Vice Chair,
Able-
this area here?
Uh-huh.
Yes, as the town planner had mentioned, it's going to be a temp access. It's going to be ABC.
Right. I just got confused because if you look at the very bottom of it says phase 1 site area. So I'm going, wait a minute, that's parking lot if we're talking phase 1.
No.
But, so
Only-
the
the only
dark
phase-
gray is the only parking lot going in right now.
Yeah, where the gray is.
Okay, that was my only question. So, do you have any further questions? How do you want to handle that?
I will give you a recommendation, choose to use it. First, we'd like to hear the motion, and then I can give it to you after you guys decide a yes or no.
So we motion first, then you make it, or do you make it and then we motion?
I don't want to influence, so I'd like for Chair, Vice Chair to make the motion, and then I'll give you the condition that we wrote up, if you choose to approve it.
Okay. So with that, do I have a motion for this case?
I'll make a motion that we approve case PZC-28-14-CUP, the Mosaic Church.
I'll second it.
Now, the language that we had put together that you could add to this is the design review approval for the Mosaic Church shall include the religious structure, cross spire, that will require town council action on the additional 10 feet. The additional 10 feet,
To be noted as stipulation number 12, correct?
yes.
Okay.
So
Do we-
tonight, just a point of clarification, if you made a motion to approve, as mentioned before, the cross spire has been approved at 30 feet.
Correct.
Decision, so.
So what was the verbiage again for stipulation 12, if you don't mind repeating it?
No, ma'am. Chair, Vice Chair. The design review approval for the Mosaic Church shall include the religious structure, the cross spire, that will require town council action on the additional 10 feet.
The feet from 30, which we're approving this evening, to 40, which is the desired height.
Correct.
Correct. So tonight, 30 feet is allowed. Anything above that has to go in front of council.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to approve case number PZC 28-14- conditional use permit on the Mosaic Church to include all 12 stipulations presented this evening. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Please note for the record that that motion was made by Commissioner Petty, seconded by Commissioner Garcia. No.
It was somebody down there.
I'm sorry, correction, Commissioner Patrick. That case has been approved.
Thank you.
Next agenda item for this evening will be call to the public for commission response. This is call to the public for public comments on the issues within the jurisdiction of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Individual commission members may respond to criticism made. They may ask staff to review a matter raised, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. At this time, I will open the call to the public. The call to the public is now open. Is there any public that would like to address the commission at this time? In the absence of the public, I will close the call to the public and move on to agenda item number 7, call to the commission. Commissioner Bronzo?
Nothing.
Commissioner Patrick? Commissioner Garcia?
Not at this time.
And Commissioner Petty. All right. Moving on to agenda number 8, can I have a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
I have a motion on the floor to adjourn the meeting this evening at 6:38. Motion was made this evening by Commissioner Garcia, seconded by Commissioner Patrick. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is now adjourned.